Thank you for tuning into the Bo Templin Show. It is Friday, September 18th. It is about noon here in San Diego, California. And on this episode, I'm going to be previewing 3 upcoming fights that I'm just totally jazzed up for, totally psyched on, and you should be too. Over the course of the next 4, 5, 6 weeks between the UFC and boxing, the cards are loaded. So let's get into it. Let's look at who we think some winners might be. And maybe there's an upset or two we can try and point out. So without further ado, this is the Bo Templin Show. The first fight that I want to preview comes next Saturday, September 26th. And the UFC Middleweight Championship is on the line in the main event. 185 pounds. Your defending champion, Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya against Paulo Costa. Now this is just a classic fight game matchup. Precision versus power.
And he's fast, but precision beats power and timing beats speed.
The skills of Adesanya versus the raw, brute strength of Paulo Costa. I think the first thing you look at in this fight is just the size of Costa. You look at him and you wonder, how the fuck does this guy make 185 pounds? That's something he's going to have to continue to answer if he stays at this weight class. But if he can make the weight and it doesn't drain him, wow, what an advantage it is for him. Then you have Adesanya, who's known and notorious for not cutting that much weight, kind of likes carrying his natural body weight. But this is a total skills versus athleticism matchup. 101 right here. In addition to the style of the fighters, there's another area where these two are very different, and that's their resumes. Now, Adesanya's resume is really impressive. I mean, his long kickboxing career overseas and an impressive record there. But since his move to MMA and trying to become this well-rounded, versatile fighter, he's got a nice little resume he's put together. You talk about Derek Brunson, Kelvin Gastelum, Anderson Silva, Robert Whittaker, a sketchy win against Yoel Romero, but that's a legitimate 5. Then you have Paulo Costa, a little bit more raw, a little bit less experience. Could that be a factor in a big main event fight like this? This is going to be undeniably Paulo Costa's biggest fight of his career. For Adesanya, this is what now? His 3rd title defense. He's had big kickboxing performances before as well. He's used to this kind of limelight. I'm curious if Costa, one, gets a little gun shy. Does he struggle under the bright lights? Does the media, the long week of media prepping, does that become a factor? When you look at Costa, I mean, what else are you really supposed to say? This isn't even a skill that you can gain with practice. This isn't something a coach can teach you. His power can only be gifted by God. No bullshit. This is the most raw power we've maybe ever seen in a fighter. So no matter what you want to put into a fight with 4-ounce gloves on, and no matter how good Adesanya is, and even if he's whooping him for 2 rounds, if Costa lands a punch, it's over. And we've seen Adesanya eat punches and kind of be fazed by him. Like, he's one of those guys where he eats a punch, he doesn't love eating the punch. And not that that's a knock against him, but there are guys who they wake up with punches, right? You think about the Diaz brothers, wake up with the punches, start to bleed. That's when they get going. I think Justin Gaethje is the same way. Adesanya, I do not believe is that way. He likes his plate clean. He likes to wipe it all. He likes it sanitized, okay? Very COVID friendly. Now, if Izzy does escape that first round, I really expect him to kind of come away with this win. I ultimately think the skills are just too sharp, and Costa's aggression coming forward, it's going to come with the price. You will eat shots doing so. Now, we haven't seen Costa really get knocked down or really even get rocked, and he's taken shots from Romero. He's taken shots from Johnny Hendricks, but both of those guys are not nearly as precise as Adesanya is. Adesanya is going to look to touch you on the chin, on the eye, across the head, on the temple. He is picking his shots. He is not aiming and spraying, right? Or excuse me, he is not spraying and hoping and praying. He is aiming, picking a target, selecting shots, trying to find an opening. And so far from what I've seen going through the fights, going through breakdown, I think Costa has just a few too many holes in his game. Now, that doesn't mean in a year or so, maybe even 6 months down the line, he can sharpen those skills up and eventually be a good contender for Izzy. But right now, the skills are just far too impressive right now for Adesanya for me to even think elsewhere. And hopefully, it's not like the last Romero matchup where it ends in that controversial, boring decision. If I had to give a prediction of this fight, I will say Adesanya in the second round will clip Costa 2, 3, 4 times over the course of 20 seconds. It will not be a one-punch knockout. It will be a cumulative. And ultimately, I think it rocks him. I think Costa can't stand, and the ref calls it off. It's going to be similar to his Derek Brunson knockout, where it's not really one punch and the guy goes out cold. It's going to be that left hand, drops, gets back up, tries to fight back. Right hand, drops, gets back up, dizzy, faded, losing control, does not have his balance, ultimately lands another one. And when a ref sees a guy drop 3 times over the course of 30 seconds, they're generally going to call the fight. I could see this way going something like that. However, amongst the 3 fights that I'm going to preview today, this is the one that I am least confident in. This one should be good. The next fight I want to look into is Vasily Lomachenko going up against Teofimo Lopez. This is for the 135-pound belt in boxing. This is going to be on ESPN. This should really excite boxing fans, okay? This is not pay-per-view. On ESPN, and 2 of the best fighters in the world get to do it. You have Vasily Lomachenko, pound for pound, 1, 2, 3, wherever you want to put him, going up against a young, hungry fighter with legit superstar potential. You don't get to see this type of matchup too often. Boxing fans, this is what you beg for all the time. You better be doing your work watching this fight. Now, this is kind of similar to the Izzy Costa fight in the sense that this is another skills versus power matchup, totally all the way. Lomachenko has some of the best skills in the world when it comes to boxing. The footwork, the hand speed, the output in terms of total punches thrown in a round. No one does it like Vasily Lomachenko. Then you have Teofimo Lopez, and I don't know if there's a harder puncher. I think he gives Gervonta Tank Davis a run for his money when it comes to punching power in this 135-pound division. This guy likes to put on a show. He's special. He's fun to watch. He talks a big game. This is the type of superstar you're looking for. The kid's 23 years old, from New York, bred, born for this shit. You know what I mean? Now, is he probably too early in his career to take on a Lomachenko? Sure. Is this a lot like Mayweather trying to fight Canelo early on in his career so that he takes him before he gets those years and years of experience in the ring, the rounds, the minutes? Yeah, maybe a little bit. There's no rematch clause in this fight. So if Lomachenko does lose, there's no need for an immediate rematch. That, I think, shows the faith that both ESPN and Top Rank Boxing have in Teofimo Lopez's superstar potential. So I went back and watched some of Lopez's recent fights, and I wanted to specifically look at his matchups against lefties. Teofimo Lopez is a natural righty, and this is going to be a classic southpaw versus righty matchup. And when those fights do happen, the big punch that messes things up for one of the 2 fighters is the straight power punch, whether it's the straight right from the righty or the straight left from the lefty. All it takes is that down the center, down the pipe, one miss, boom, come back straight. I think that's what we might see here this week. Something that Lopez likes to do is set that punch up with a straight power shot to the body. Over and over in the first 2 rounds. He'll continue to look to do that. A straight right hand to the body of Lomachenko. I suspect he'll try and do this to open things up upstairs. Now, I really do love Lopez, right? This guy's a superstar. He's well on his way. He's fun to watch. He's exactly the kind of fighter you want Lomachenko taking on.
He has never faced a fighter like me. Fast, quick, strong. I can hit too. Everybody knows that.
Wow! What a knockdown by Lopez!
but the skills are too good. The skills are too good of Lomachenko. He's going to be dancing around. The footwork's going to be impeccable. You're going to see that Ukrainian dancing style of boxing from Lomachenko. You're going to see a high number of punches, that incredible output that he always does. Jab, 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 straight left, hitting gloves down, blocking. Thinking you're out of distance, puts his face in front of you, puts the gloves up, misses to the right, misses to the left. This is something that none of the lefties that Lopez has faced is going to bring to the table, and Lomachenko does it better than anyone. So ultimately, Lomachenko takes this one. I don't think he makes him quit. I don't know if he knocks him out. It might be like a 2 knockdown type fight, or Lomachenko just takes this thing in 12 rounds in a very, very decisive decision. And I do not believe it'll be split, unanimous. Lomachenko is my pick for that one. And the last fight that I want to break down, October 26th, your UFC lightweight belt will be on the line. Justin Gaethje getting a chance to take on the undefeated, the reigning, defending 155-pound champion Khabib. Justin Gaethje's a warrior, man. He's an absolute warrior. He has maybe the best performance this year in the UFC in that fight against Tony Ferguson. He has just cardio out the ass. He has a granite chin. He's tough as nails. Loves to fight. Great stand-up. Outstanding, impeccable takedown defense. And you would look at the UFC roster. You look at the guys in that 155-pound division. He's the best matchup for Khabib. This is the perfect guy to take on Khabib. Maybe Ferguson, but Gaethje has the takedown defense to do it, has the hands to knock out a guy like Khabib. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Khabib will maul him just like he mauls everyone else. And it's the one I'm most confident in. And this is the best matchup you can give Khabib right now. It's the best matchup. And it really doesn't matter. Khabib is that good. I don't know how to explain it to people that don't know the fight game, or if you don't watch competition or sports in general at all. I don't know how to explain it. He is that much better than everyone else in one facet of the game, and it's unstoppable. Okay? He will take him down. He will hold him down. He will punch him in the face over and over. Maybe get a submission. Maybe knock him out. The ref might call it. Or just 5 rounds of a mauling. It tends to break people. I don't think it'll break Justin Gaethje, but it will be a mauling once again because that's what he does. He's going to take you into the deep water and drown you, as he likes to say. Okay, so here's the thing with Justin Gaethje, right? He's got this magic aura about him this year in 2020, and what he did in that Ferguson fight was really impressive. But I think he peaked. I think that was the highest we will ever see Justin Gaethje get. It was everything coming together at once. Head movement for a guy who's got a granite chin, smarts, power, cardio, all of it. And he knew what he needed to do against Ferguson. He will not have that same mojo on October 26th against Khabib. 50-45 unanimous decision for Khabib, and still your 155-pound division champion.
Choke, second career win for you by rear naked choke.
This is second.
Second in your career.
Only second.
We'll have to check the record.
I choke a lot of people.
10th by submission, but just the second rear naked choke.
Yes. I think.
So
I choke a lot of people. I choke a lot of people.
Ruh-roh. No one better. Get used to it. Stop doubting him. Well, that is a wrap on this episode of the Bo Templin Show. We got 3 fights that we broke down, okay? We have Izzy versus Costa. Guys, tune in. This is skills versus power. And then again, skills versus power, but this time lefty versus righty. And Lopez versus Lomachenko. You guys know what I think of Lomachenko. I think he's pound for pound 1 or 2 right there with Canelo. And then ultimately we wrap it up with another title fight, 155 pounds, Khabib versus Justin Gaethje. This is the toughest guy that they're going to be able to give Khabib, and I don't think it matters. I don't think he gives a shit. He's going to take him into the deep water and drown him. That will be a wrap. So, let me know what you think. Let me know if you disagree, and stay tuned for the next episode of The Bo Templin Show.